And we're back for another Friday night, evening of 4K Skywatching podcast live. I'm Tom King, I'm your host. We have a special guest today. Um, we have a guy who does something very, very expensive. He's a Skywatcher. He's a family man. He's a contractor. He's a researcher. He's a geologist and more. We have on the show today Dan Starkey. He is live over in another part of the Phoenix Valley. When he skywatches, he often goes up in a helicopter that costs a hell of a lot of money. I thought that I had gear into this hole. God, it doesn't even compare to a guy who's going up in a helicopter. When I skywatch, I'm looking up. When Dan skywatches, he looks down. So Skinwalker Ranch isn't the only place that sees underground UFOs going through the mountains. We have them here in the Phoenix area. They're probably worldwide. Without further delay, let's bring in Dan Starkey. How are you doing this evening, Dan?
Good. Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thanks for spending an hour with us on Friday night. All right, audio's good. Let's continue. So we were talking earlier. You were before we dive into the UFO topic, and this is very timely since you're one of the few people I've ever heard of using a helicopter for skywatching. Tomorrow is a big day coming out where a helicopter apparently picked up a UFO. We're being promised some smoking gun footage is gonna just roll across the internet in less than a day from now. But anyway, you before we get into all that, you were telling me a little bit about the Mattel theme park, and for people who don't know, Mattel is setting up basically their world first theme park, and Mattel is the stuff that we had as little kids with the cars and stuff, and they're building like a Disney style park in Arizona with roller coasters and a big water park. Tell us about this.
Yeah, it's an indoor amusement park. So in Arizona, we don't have amusement parks because the heat is so bad in the summer. We don't have a few good months where you could really have that. So you can't have a seasonal operation like that. So the people that are operating the Mattel Adventure Park realize that it needs to be indoors. So we build a big facility that's air conditioned. We have tons and tons of air conditioning. Everything's inside. Kiddie rides are inside, and it's all the Thomas the Train, the Land of Sodor in half of the building with kiddie rides. Thomas the Train, a scale version that has a Thomas the Train theater. It pulls into the theater. They do a show. People get on it, and it goes for a ride and a treasure hunt for pirate treasure. So and then the other half of the facility is Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels is a Mattel product too. So we have go-kart tracks, a double layered go-kart track. So some of the upper tracks on that course is 40 feet off the ground. So it's not for the faint of heart, but it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. So it's also nestled right at the Vi Resort. It's the largest resort, will be the largest resort in Arizona, and with pools and lakes right in the front door. So there's going to be wave pools and all kinds of things. There's more things that they change it all the time. The owners are perfectionists and they want to make it right. So when it debuts, it's going to be, everybody's just going to love it. So it's quite a project. It's definitely fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I saw some of the aerial photos. I wanted to pull up some stuff on YouTube for it. I guess people can look that up on YouTube, but I was kind of worried what a copyright strike's going to be for whose footage is up there. A lot of people are following the progress with drones, showing the progression of this. The blast of being indoors and coming out of a roller coaster in this 110 degree heat is going to be really going to be something.
And
you'll be out for a few seconds, but it'll be, we know this is the furnace, right? When you step outside.
Yeah. The thrill coaster launches you in a tunnel in the back of the building, and by the time you leave, you're going 60 miles an hour. And the first part of the coaster is a loop, upside down loop. You go back, and so it's going to be exciting. It'll be a thrill for sure. And and I think it's 50 or 60 seconds out on the track. So it's a thrill you're not even going to feel the heat. You'll be hanging out for dear life. I don't think people will notice it. There's a family coaster too. It's called the Bone Shaker, but it's a little tamer. It's got a centrifugal helix, goes out of the building. You load it inside the building, it comes out and goes up on the roof, and then there'll be a few spots there that'll give you a thrill. It looks like you're going off the edge of the building, and it turns at the last second. And these cars on the coaster are Hot Wheels cars. So they're I don't know if I'm even supposed to talk about much of it, but they're cars that you will recognize, that the real prolific Hot Wheels cars. That's what they made those look like. So people are going to love it. I'm a kid from the 60s and 70s. I had Hot Wheels cars when I was a kid too. So it's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to take a couple of trips over there to check that out. I don't know if I'm going to do the coasters. I'll have to look at them. I just, my spine all screwed up. I don't want to push it. I kind of done a lot of the roller coasters, but I'm definitely going to hit any of those water parks they got over there. That looks like
it should be really smooth. I mean, it should be really smooth. We do a lot of engineering to make sure that there's no variation that's not supposed to be there in the tracks. I mean, a lot. Nowadays with the CAD and the surveyors can do scanning and stuff. It's down to as high tech as you can get, and it's pretty amazing that they can fabricate all that stuff. These big steel tracks and curves and sweeping curves, and it comes out beautiful. It's made it by Chance Rides out of Kansas City, and it's something else. I mean, I've never put together a coaster before. Our ironworkers have and stuff that erected it, but it's even a trick erecting it because everything's twisted. So you can't just pick it up in the center and set it on. You got to pick it up in the right spot and let it twist and bolt it to one end and fit in the other. And when we get to the end, it was in the summer, and the piece wouldn't fit in, the last piece. And so we waited till the next morning, and it slid right in when that track got shorter. The track expands in the heat. So we had to wait to cool down, then it slid right in and bolted it together.
I've seen a bit of that of building roller coasters in places where it snows, and they have that problem of waiting for the right time to put the pieces together, or they don't lock. It's kind of hard to wrap my mind around metal shrinking and expanding.
That's quite a bit.
Now let's talk a bit about some of your helicopter trips. I know you just did you did one. I was looking at some of the footage you sent over. It's a lot different looking for UFOs when you're looking down at the ground versus when I'm looking up at the sky, because I can use UFO DAP, and I can use other things. Like most of the time I'm looking at a blue sky, and something penetrates the blue sky, breaks. But when you're looking at the ground, there's so much stuff down there. It's and in 4K, you're looking at all these little things. Let's bring up just a clip so people can see just how challenging this is.
September 2024.
All right, so you were narrating over that piece there, but yeah, this is just the superstitious mountain areas, which is very treacherous area. We've both been in some of Clive Christopher's Aliens Uncovered series, and it was funny. I saw him on one of these, and you were on this one, and he says, "Do not go camping in the superstitious mountains because you will die. You will not make it back. Don't go." And then it cuts to you going, "So I'm camping up here and by myself."
I have several times. I hike out there because everybody's afraid to go with me. So I hike out there by myself. And when I started doing this, I was, I bought some mining property back in the Crown King gold mine up in Crown King, the Bradshaw mine. So I started, the recession hit. So I was working for an exploration company, and I learned the exploration business, mineral exploration. I hung with the geologists, and I learned that side of it. And I ended up writing a paper on the arc magmatism of the Bradshaw Mountains that covers Arizona, how these mineralized districts happen. And I use that technique. And I said, hey, let's look over the Superstition Mountains. It's, they're all us legit explorers always looked at the superstitions as a tourist trap and didn't take too much to it. But I thought, hey, it'd be fun to use this technique at the Superstition Mountains, and I'll see where I would say the Lost Dutchman gold mine may be. Where's the motherload? And so I started using that technique, and I spotted came to a fault line that I liked the most, and it ended up being similar to the book of the Lost Dutchman gold mine by Bob Corbin. He wrote, which is the Bible, considered the Bible of the Lost Dutchman. And I said, hey, this is too much of a coincidence. I got to go look. I got to go up here at the spot. So and it took me a few attempts to get out there, but this was the spot that I wanted to go. I picked that time, have never been in the Superstition Mountains. And then I just proceeded to figure out how to get to the top. I've been climbing around the Bradshaw Mountains so I could know how to get around. And so I said, I can do it. I'm still young enough too. I can hike through the brush. And let me tell you what, the Superstition Mountains are tame compared to the Bradshaw Mountains. They are rough and hard to get through. The chaparral brush is so thick. It's really, really tough. But so it was like a walk in the park, and it felt like it was right out at the city to me, right on the edge of the city. It was easy to get to. I thought, hey, this is easy. This is going to be easy. So anyways, it took me 3 attempts to get up to the top of the mountain I wanted to go to, Coffee Flat Mountain. And because at the top and down the side was where I figured this vein was, or this fault line. I wanted to go see that spot. And so it took me 3 attempts. It takes all day to hike up to, it's like 6-7 hours. And you got to take a change of clothes because you're drenched from sweating, hiking all day. And then you don't go in the summer, you go in the winter. So you don't want to get up and change of clothes so you don't freeze to death at night, because you got to stay there overnight. And so the 3rd time I got where I wanted to go. And so I found some mineralization there, and this rock also has an energetic property too that we can talk about later. I talk about a lot, and it's really a key thing that I tie to the UFOs and why they're here. But so I'm taking a lot of pictures of this mountain from at say the Peralta Trailhead. There's a couple mountains there. I sit there at a certain spot. I don't have to walk way out there, and I can take pictures of this. I call it the primordial mound, the main mountain. So taking thousands of pictures of it, mostly video, take stills out of that. And I buy a plotter to print plans because I'm a contractor, and to make these beautiful pictures in the, great big size for my house. And so maybe I can sell beautiful pictures of this landscape. And I noticed the first one I print of the primordial mound, the Coffee Flat Peak, I got it laying on the garage floor, and there's a dot about this big up in the sky. And I look closer at it, and it's got a white ring around it. I'm like, holy cow, that's a UFO. Holy cow. And this is 3 years after I've been out there traipsing around. Suddenly, I start. That's my first sign of a UFO. I even talked about it in videos. Like, I never see UFOs, but people say they're out here. But I've never seen any. And so I found the video of that time, and then sure enough, there's three UAPs coming in, and it's the best I can tell. It's not, it's not a bird, it's not a bug, and everything happens at a split second. So you miss that stuff. It was just luck that I caught that still at that moment in time, because it's literally a blink of the eye, and these things go by that fast. And so I kind of learned, seeing that, then now I'm interested in UFOs. So now I'm on the hunt. It was turned into anthropology because I'm seeing deities, ancient sun worshiping deities on the sides of mountains and stuff. And so it's all perspective and angle. And so I'm starting to use a drone. If I'm on the south side of the wilderness area, I can fly drones and see most of the stuff I'm after. I don't have to fly above the wilderness area. So I'm getting those pictures and finding those deities. And then I said, it'd be great if I could get a helicopter. It just spurred the moment. I said, I can see who's chartering helicopters. I'm going to go take a ride. So I find Sun State Helicopters and Chris Dobkins, the owner. I used to know his father. His father was a general contractor. Chris was a fire sprinkler contractor. So we kind of know a bunch of the same people. So I said, how much is it? And so I said, all right, schedule me. I want to go for an hour, 1 hour,
Wow.
20 minutes from Scottsdale Airport out to the Superstitions, 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back. And so we did that, and I had a GoPro attached to the bottom of the helicopter. I was holding one by hand, and then a couple other trips I've had it behind our heads and watching through the cab, and I've tried different cameras. So I've only done it maybe half a dozen times really over the last couple of years, 3 years, but.
Yeah, I'd love to come up one of these times. Now, I did try this, not exactly what you're doing, but I did try this back in 1999. What happened is we had this red UFO that showed up over Chandler Gilbert area for 4 years. It had a nickname of Bubba. So there was 1 to 2 of these lights, and they'd come up as soon as the sun went down. This happened so many times. I filmed it about 3 or 4. Not 4 dozen, but about 3 dozen times. I drove under it. I used telescopes to film it. I built my own 3D camera. I filmed it in every possible way I could think of. To the point, I didn't think of a helicopter, but I thought of a Cessna. So I go to Chandler Airport, and I go in there and I say, hey, I want to charter a plane, because it was showing up about 2 to 3 times a month. So I knew within certain days, if I just put my credit card out there, I'd get it. So I go in and book a flight, and they're like, okay. And they're telling me what it would cost and whatnot. And it was like $500 for an hour or so. This is 1999. And they go, what are we doing? I said, well, you see, there's this red UFO that's over on baseline in Alma School. And I want you to fly up as close to it as you can get until the power goes out. That's probably close enough. Turn away and I'll film it. And the guy's like, excuse me? And I repeat it. He goes, I guess he thought it was fucking trolling or something. And I wasn't. I was dead serious. He goes, you can leave. We're not renting you anything. He goes, and nobody in this airport, I guess he spoke for the airport, is renting anything to you either. Your money's no good here. Get out. I mean, and so I leave, right? The next night, it shows up. And then the next night after that, there's a Cessna flying around with the red light going like this, trying to poison the well that it was Bubba. Like, you son of a bitches went up right after I wanted to pay you to go up, and you shit all over the sky with your Cessna. But anyway, let's look at one of your clips here. This thing's going like thousands of miles an hour.
The first time we went,
go ahead.
The first time we went, I was still thinking anthropology and didn't see anything. We didn't see anything out there. We never do. But when I'm reviewing the videos up from the GoPros and cameras and stuff on the big screen and at the house, me and my wife are watching. I'm like, all of a sudden you see a little sparkle and say, "Hey, you just notice that?" And that's how I'm the accidental discoverer, accidental explorer. That's why I always say I find the stuff I'm not expecting to find, and so. And then I kind of learned how to find this stuff. I had to nail it down. I had to slow the video down, double twice what the programs will do to slow it down enough to see it. So these clips I got here are the result of some of these that I've just happened to catch a glimpse of a sparkle, and then I blow up on it and zoom in on it. So that's what these clips are.
All right, let's put up this first one. What you're doing is, it looks like you're flying towards the copper mine out by Superior, Arizona area.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't know, they basically take those huge trucks that are the size of a house, and they strip mine all the soil, dirt out, and then somehow they get copper out of that, and then they move it to another spot. So they take a mountain out and they move a mountain over, and you guys are flying towards it when UAP flies by you at like speeds of the Millennium Falcon. Let's roll this.
Yeah, this valley is 7 miles long.
At this UAP coming flying by. Okay, here we're gonna blow this up, get a closer look at this UAP coming flying by here. It's really quick. See it just a split second directly in the center of the screen, that dark spot. There it is. I backed it up. So I want to get a close up of that. There it's backed up behind, farther up the hill. See, it's got the 5 black dots around it, like the water bug marks again. So that's cool. I don't know why that is. Is that the tube that it travels in. It's kind of cool. We got some stills here coming up there. There's a spot right there. So it looks like water bug marks. Thought I might be able to see some color. Maybe if I change the filter. But look at the water bug marks around that. That's cool. That is signature. Cool. More to come.
Yeah, I think the thing you were referring to are water bug marks, or just probably digital artifacts. I've been seeing that for a while, but yeah, we could see it here where you're heading east. The object is also heading east, and then it just shoots way down range.
Actually, it was coming back the other direction. It was coming from the east, that ridge line that you see off the distance. It was coming toward us.
You?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I got that little bit backwards. So
Yeah.
it's shooting at you.
Right. That's right. Most of these come toward us,
Okay.
toward the helicopter, which is kind of strange. Not directly at us, but in the same direction. Maybe that's the only reason how we can see them or catch a glimpse of them. But
Now you sent another clip over. I don't have it queued, but you definitely identified that as probably a seagull up at the altitude of a helicopter. And if this thing hit, it would not been good for the helicopter and you guys inside of it. But there's no way this is a bird flying at you because it came from the V of that ridge. It moved, what do you say, 7 miles in 4 frames?
Yeah, right. So 7 miles that you could fly from the East Coast to the West Coast in less than a minute. That fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this was super duper fast. Most of them I don't get that long of a shot with them to kind of time the frames.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 40 frames per second with the GoPro or less. And the one with the that looked like a bird, I thought at first it was a bird. And this one here, it doesn't look like a craft to me. It looks like look in the center of the screen to the bottom right of that center swirl. And there's going to be like an explosion of dust, like somebody shot into that ground, and here it's going to happen here any second. And then there's this right there. So that's just a split second.
I see that, whatever that was.
And it's gone. Now there's the shadow that's going up the hillside. It's in the center of the screen now, that blurry spot. And then it goes to that top of that outcropping up there. So it'll show, I replay this in this clip here a couple more times. You'll be able to see the blurriness go up the mountain. This is to the right, just to the south of, I call Rattlesnake Rock, that I've seen a lot of UAPs coming down through there. So this plays for a while, and then we'll get back to that same clip. But this is just beautiful country. And this whole mountain right here is energetic. And what I mean by energetic is some kind of scalar energy that's emitted off this particular hill right here, not everywhere else out there, but dividing rods will turn. I'm probably the best barometer. This energetic feeling is kind of echo, a little bit of echo in your head. It's in your head. It doesn't make you tingle or anything like that, but it's in your head. And some theories are that you're getting a lot of more oxygen to your red blood cells, and your brain's getting more oxygen, and that's maybe the feeling of it. But so this whole mountain right here, and to the left, it's bigger than just this peak right here. I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of action right here. And so here's going to show that clip again of that shadow that's it's going to start, just poofed up down to the bottom, almost to the bottom. You see the little brown.
Yeah,
now it's going up the hill.
Move.
Now the blur is going up the hill. It's going to go out in the middle of the screen here next. And so I don't know what that is. I don't know if that looks like a craft to me. I don't know what that is.
To the Mick Westers out there, Mick West is, if you don't know, he's a debunker guy. If that's a bug, which he would say it is, it's the size of a dog. What kind of bugs are flying around that big? Now, one of my big questions here, before the UFOs is what kind of snakes are out here, man? That's what I'd be worried about. Is not really the heat, but if you get bit and then you're out there and then you're like, how do I get out of here?
Right.
You know,
Rattlesnakes, you got to watch. You never stick your hands where you can't see. And in the summer, you got to expect those rattlesnakes everywhere. And in fact, I called this one rock Rattlesnake Rock because I was parked my bike in the wash, and right at the base of that hill, that dark spot, that shadow's the wash I'm in. And a rattlesnake came right out and greeted me. And it's the strangest thing. He just sat right there and didn't coil up or anything. And so here's another view of a UAP coming off the peak of this mountain right here at the top of that.
Do you want to talk over it, or do you want to have your audio play over it?
Yeah, let my audio do it.
I'm going to rewind it then. So
here's a faint spot still. So my program here isn't cooperating with me. When I think I'm recording something and blows up, it's out of frame. Like the top right here is out of frame just for a few snaps here, but we'll see if we get it here as we come along. But it was kind of interesting. We see here's a faint spot right there to the right top, then it's coming down, and you can see the black around it. It's like a 5 point, it's like a water bug mark. It's coming down, and the black kind of changes shape a little bit. Distortion around it. Here's up at the top again, and you can see that faint white spot, and it just moved. Now in the video, you can see, looks like remnants and 2 white spots at the same time. So I started getting some heavy speculation there.
There's 2 right there.
If this is if time doesn't affect this phenomenon, are we seeing more than one dimension? If we see 2 spots at the same time, are we seeing 2 dimensions at the same time? Is one 2,000 years ago, one current, say? That's kind of a neat concept. I'll try to find those clips so you can see it better. Right at the beginning here, you can see 2 at the same time here. Maybe just things are moving so fast, so it's hard to say. But it's fun to speculate on what's really going on there. What is that? If that's gravity distortion, that's how they travel through portals, then time isn't a factor. Are these entities here the ones that gave man information to start civilization? Are these the same ones? We might be seeing the same day they were in this area 6,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. We might be seeing the same mark. That's pretty freaky to think about that way. So anyways, I have a lot more of these in this area.
this is some very interesting footage. Now, a couple of things I want to address here. This is the middle of the desert, as you see, for the people who don't know this area. This is for the Phoenix Valley is pretty flat, like LA, but then we have our mountains all over the place. We don't have a seagull population like you do on the East Coast and the West Coast. I've only seen the seagulls here a couple of times since I've lived here. If they're around that Tempe Lake, which is a fake lake. And then we have Lake Pleasant and a couple of lakes here. Not much. We don't have, and they eat garbage and seafood. So we don't have stuff for them to eat. Another thing I want to bring up is, like, if this is a bird, how come we don't see it moving? This thing skips through the video. That tells me it's going so fast that your GoPro is barely registering and it's skipping. with a bird, you see it move
Yeah.
and flap,
Yeah.
right? I have yet to see a hawk skip through a bunch of frames when I'm filming.
Yeah.
I don't see
these
birds
last
do that.
videos these last drone videos I got, I may have sent you a copy just maybe a last weekend or weekend before. Got some hawks flying by my GoPro. You can clearly tell that it's a big bird. It's easy to tell, and they're not moving at a blink of an eye. They're just not moving. They can't move that fast. So that's kind of what sometimes I'm going, oh yeah, it's a bird. It's a freaking bird. But how can it move that fast? That I can't explain. And so with all the other weird stuff that goes on out here, my odds are that it's a UAP. And
I mean, hey, I see him a lot. I mean, the last UFO I seen was 4 hours ago or so. I'm seeing them every week now. I figured since my expansion of more cameras would triple the amount of footage that I should get, and that's sort of happening. But I'm definitely seeing an uptick in activity. I saw something fly by today that went so fast. Usually just my mouth drops. No matter how many times I see it, I'm like, what? And the F-bomb comes out, and then the initial shock. Something I realized that I've developed that all of us have is humans have the ability of pattern recognition very, very fast. For instance, if you see part of a person's face and they have sunglasses on and they're famous, you go, I know who that is. You only have to see a still frame of a portion of a person's face to recognize them. Going, I know who that is, right? We all do that right? Just like, but with UFOs, I only have to see just a little bit, and boom, that's a UFO. When I see the movement, the F-bomb comes out, shock hits. I grab one of these damn 14 different colored mouses here, going, which one controls that particular camera? Yeah. Another one, I filmed an orange object last week. First time I've ever filmed an orange object in the daytime. The thing was rotating, right? So I'm going, is this in focus? Well, I've never seen an object rotate out of focus. I've never seen a balloon rotate. It went by really fast, and I think it was in focus. I don't know what the hell that was, but it has a pretty close match to what was filmed in New Jersey in the daytime in the clouds about 3 weeks ago. Looks just like that. But anyway, we're going to run into mundane stuff. I see it all the time, but we're also running into UAPs.
What I see in these videos here, it gives me more insight. Every time I see one come through out of the mountain, it's a little bit of a blur, and then it comes through, and then it goes through the top of another one and passes through it. And so I immediately start thinking, how's it doing that? Why is it doing that? For one, if you can fly like that, why didn't you fly over them? Why are you flying right through them? And do they use the same spot? Is there another hole? And one of these videos I got, I don't know I guess it wasn't on that one there, but I got a good view of two. And so one came through, and then I really watched close to see if that's the same spot that the second one came through. If they're using a tube, some kind of a wormhole or something, or it's a portal,
a highway.
And no, it wasn't. It was slightly different. So anyways, it's fun to gain insight every time I see something here doing something different. It's really cool. And they go through the mountaintop, and then all of a sudden they change a little bit of direction, and then they come out a little bit off of kilter or where they were headed. That's weird.
Direction.
Are they getting?
Yeah.
Is it like a booster? They're going to go through this rock, this volcanic tuff, to get boost to turn. Do they have to be in the rock to turn? I've seen them actually curve, but so probably not. But maybe they're getting a boost by staying in it, or are they trying to stay low to keep out of vision? Maybe
what do you think about? We're all after the same natural resources to a degree. I mean, what would be, precious to mankind may be precious to whatever kind they are, because water's water. Everybody likes water, right? I mean, so maybe they're after the gold. Maybe they're mining something. It could be aluminum. We just don't know. I mean, but it's just coming around now that UFOs it's getting acceptable that they go through the ground. USOs, undersea objects, are kind of mainstream now in ufology, where people accept transmedium
Yeah.
UFOs from space to sky to sea, but going from space to sky to directly into the ground still isn't mainstream yet. But when you bring videos like this, when I see videos from Skinwalker Ranch from Brandon Frugal's brother piloting the chopper, this is independent people who don't know each other. They're both filming orbs or whatever going through the ground.
Yeah, I call them unidentified subterranean phenomena is what this is, because I think they're most of the time they're in the ground, and it has to do with it's. I think our ancient cultures picked that up too. I don't know how they would have seen it, but they pick that up, and the gods there's underworld gods, and there's so it just ties to our religion. Our religion, I think, has evolved off of this stuff, and this basic things where they want to be entombed in stone to be like these gods here that are in the ground. They live in the underworld, and they must have seen them come through the rock too. I mean, it's a different dimension. These crafts are from a different dimension. It's the rock dimension. Who better to be the builders of these megalithic stone projects around the world too than somebody that can master stone like these guys can? I say, my opinion is that these are the megalithic builders, the same people, or the same beings. I say. I know that
makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. I don't need to prove it. I'm not out to prove it. If you don't believe it, I don't care. So, but that's the way I'm leaning, and I may change my mind after I see a few other things here. But so my exploration is continuing. I bought property next to the Superstition Mountains too, and it's like a headquarters. So I'll be able to take people out there if you want. If you want to go to Rattlesnake Rock with me and put your hand on it to feel the energy and stuff, I'll take you out to it. It's a nice ride.
I will watch the P1000 as you pet the snake. I'm not petting the snake.
Well, if we go in the cold, there's no snakes around, and we can wear snake traps too. But so my exploration, my exploration project is still going. Yeah, I have snake traps so they don't bite you. And
only in Arizona, man, snake traps. I didn't even know there was a thing called snake outfits. I have in my truck. Doesn't everybody carry snake traps in their truck? No. I do. Yeah, that's about as rare as snow chains in Arizona.
The snakes that I saw was a big diamondback, and they're big pussy cats. They'll rattle when you're 30 feet away from them. But there's other ones like the green Mojave that strike first and then rattle. And they got two toxins. One's a neurotoxin, and the old timers told me when I was exploring the Peck Mining District, they said, if you get bit by a green Mojave, just go find a shady spot to lay down and die, because you're not going to make it out, because it slows your breathing, your heart rate down, and you won't make it out. You just won't. Most people are walking in there, a couple miles back in there, or several miles. But so it's never. You don't want to get bit. So you got to be careful. Every step you take, you got to be looking for that stuff. And this one of these last videos I put where I find this mine shaft. You notice how I'm really looking around. I've done that many times, and so usually was three of us going. So like whoever's the first one in the portal or the entrance to the mine has got to look around for snakes. And you look around because that's a cool spot. And that's where they hang out in the day in the summer, right? So one day I was doing that and looking really close, looking for it, and then I almost put my hand on the ledge of a little shelf on the side of the adit, and there was a green Mojave coiled right up on it. I almost put my hand right on him, and that's when I was looking for him. I was looking for the snake. So you got to be super duper careful. You see stories of people getting bit and their skin swells up. They have to cut the skin, and oh man, you don't want to get bit. I used to have dreams about getting bit several times when I'm really doing exploration. I have dreams about it at night.
Well, I have a few reoccurring dreams. One of them is I don't have them anymore, but I used to have before I moved to Arizona. I had reoccurring dreams of filming UFOs, smoking gun type stuff. Thousands of those dreams. I quit smoking. I still have dreams I smoke, and I have dreams about snakes. I don't like snakes. I'm not really scared of them. I just think they're creepy. We almost bought a snake in 1993. Instead, we got some iguanas because we didn't think iguana would kill us. So we got some lizards instead. I've always been, into reptiles and stuff, but just being out in the desert with just, I mean, I'm one of those people when we always see those hikers that go hiking. They go, hey, it's 112. It's a good fucking day to go hiking. And they're tourists and they get trapped and they call the helicopter to get them off the mountain. I'm like, fuck it, let them die. If people go up on Camelback Mountain and they see bones and shit like Mount Everest and say, oh, there's a lot of bones up here, maybe they'll stop that. So I don't like the stupid hiker shit. So I've kind of got to say, stupid snake guy. I hate to go out and be the guy who calls, help, this is Tom King. I got a fucking snake. Dude, I filmed the Phoenix Lights. Come on, get me out of here. I'm not supposed to be here anyway.
Those rattlesnakes are pissed off individuals too. They don't like you. And they, the green Mojave, I've had them come after me, and people say, oh, they won't chase you down. But I'm telling you what, I've had green Mojaves come after me. And maybe I don't know why, but in fact, you dig through find a historic mine, say, all right, here, we got to dig here. I think there's one here. Let's go in there and see if it's safe to make safe. So we're the first exploration guys. We're the first ones to go in these 100-year-old mines. And so we're digging. All right, let's dig through here. Got a hole big enough to get through, climb through. And it's usually at the top of a pile of rubble. So the mine shaft tunnel floor is down lower. So by the time you get to the bottom, sometimes there's a snake at the bottom. And you're on all fours going like this, trying to get out of there real fast because there's a freaking snake on the floor of the tunnel, man. I've done that a few times. I've been by myself back and almost stepped on the green Mojave, looking at the ceiling of the attic, looking for the minerals and stuff, and then shine a flashlight down. There's a coiled up rattlesnake right in the floor, right in front of me.
I would only do that one time. There would never be a second time, or I learned from one. But let me cue up the next clip. 3 not 2 final. Do you want to talk over this, or do you want to?
No, let's let the narration go.
Okay, right. Back on the same Anubis Cyrus video. I thought I saw a glimpse of a third UAP, and it turns out I did. So about that same spot on that face of that cliff, you'll see one come through here. Smaller one. It was the first one you saw the other day. So it comes across almost the top of that Anubis's head. Should be coming up here shortly here. There it is. It's going through the top of his head now, and then across that gully into that mountain. It kind of gets redirected a hair. Now it's going into the Wasp Scepter and right toward us in the helicopter. As they steering to get pointed directly at us. Here's a second one coming out of Anubis' head about where the big one came out. Right there. See it come out? That was about the same spot the big one did. There. See it come out? That was about the same spot the big one did. Right there. See it come out? That was about the same spot the big one did. Now it gets redirected too. Trajectory is slightly different when it comes out the mountain, out the hill there. So what caused that? Is that how they change direction? That's kind of bizarre, isn't it? Or is there something in the mountain that does it? Okay, coming up to the big one, you'll see it from above Anubis' head. They'll come through the same spot. And he just zones out. And that's that. We got a glimpse of that tube. Here it is right here. So it's coming out and boom, he's gone, but we got a glimpse of it. The tube there. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's a big spot there.
I see that.
It doesn't look like a bird either. No ways a bird's going to fly through the mountains. And you can see it coming out of the shade into the sunlight on it. And because at first, when I first started seeing this stuff, I thought maybe it's lens glare, and that's what it is. But then I see it coming out of the shade into the sunlight, and then through the mountain out the other side. I thought, man, I don't know what that is. I do not know what that is. It's a unidentified subterranean phenomenon, is what it is. Maybe biological. Who knows?
Have you seen Skinwalker Ranch where they had a helicopter showing one of these going through a mountain and coming out another side? It looks a lot like this.
It does the same stuff. It's the same stuff. And so they even did experiments with sending a signal from this end of the mountain to that end.
Yeah.
And it went through it. So that's what inspired me to look at that and think about, are those all using the same hole, the same tunnel, but they came out of a different spot. So I got to say it wasn't. Each thing is individual is the way I kind of surmised it or figured, but they sent a signal through it. So maybe it's there. Time is not linear in the quantum world. You keep going back to the spooky shit here, is that time is not how we think it is. Everything happens at the same time, and it's just not how we see it. These things are happening at a different viewpoint in this bubble of time or something. It hurts your brain to start thinking about time travel or time like that.
Now, you said earlier that you've done this about 8 or 9 times, and we've looked at about 4 or 5 clips now. So it seems like your hit ratio is about 50% going up.
A little bit better, or a little bit better than that.
Yeah, that's
when
pretty
we
good.
first started. We used to go up there and skywatch at night just from the ground.
Yeah,
and we were 70% every time we go out. We'd only be out there for an hour and a half, and we just happened to be there at that time. Each time, that's too much of a coincidence. I say this is another thing part of my theory is that these things are in and out all day long, constantly. And they're just moving so fast we can't see it. We don't notice it. And so I think they stop. We usually see them around just after sunset for an hour or two. 8:30 is kind of a good time. I've had other friends say that's kind of what they notice. It happens during the day, obviously. Now in the morning on those helicopter rides, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, usually when we're flying through there. So,
okay,
are these things on our circadian rhythm where they take off at night? You look at airports, modern day airports, and the sky traffic, the air traffic is less at night. I mean, there's some, but there's less at night, more during the day. And it seems like these are on that same rhythm of our 24-hour cycle. Which does that make them biological and connected to the Earth? Say if these guys are from Reticula 2 or whatever, and what's the odds that planet has a 24-hour day? What's the odds? Probably, who knows? Even in our solar system, they're all different, our planets. So it seems to me like these guys have always been here. They've just always been here. It's just part of this consciousness of this energy of the Earth, the crystal Earth,
Yeah, the UFO community does not agree on a lot, but one thing they seem to agree upon is these things live here. They may have came here from somewhere else. It could be from another planet, could be from another dimension, maybe both. But this planet could be just the gem in the galaxy where they said, you know what, this place is so beautiful. We're just gonna call this home from now on until we find something. Someplace better. That's the way I feel like it. I mean, I'm like we talked about this the other day. I'm originally from South Dakota, but Arizona is my home now. And if I had the money, Hawaii would be my home. Or something. I mean, home is wherever you are. It's not exactly where you're from. That's kind of a human construct of where you're originally from. Like everybody's the same from there, and we're not. We're all really different.
So some of my videos, I talk about the stories of the Anunnaki. They come here thousands of years ago to mine gold and to go back and fix their atmosphere is what the stories are. So say this volcanic tuff is, when you burn gold and burn it past a normal time, the Soviets first started doing this. It creates a white powder, and they call it white powder of gold. White powder of gold. And so you can analyze it with a spectrum analysis machine, and it can't tell you what it is. It doesn't know what it is, but it also has superconductor properties like anti-gravity stuff. And there's other uses than physical metallic gold, I think I would guess on the side that it's the white powder gold, and that energy is what these Anunnaki are after and take them back. And they use that to straighten out their atmosphere. If you put volcanic ash in their atmosphere, it has an effect on the climate of our planet. We have big volcanic episodes that can, depending on the material that goes into the ash cloud, can cool it or can heat it up. So usually you want to, if you don't want to have a snowball Earth, because everything dies in that, mostly everything. But you can go warmer, and maybe they're using that energy, that they're mining this white powder gold. That's why they're in and out of this caldera here in the superstitions. That geophysics shows that it's got a low gravitic spot right in the center of this area, right by these areas where I was showing you where these UAPs are at, right there, and a high magnetic signature right there too. So stands to reason that this volcanic tuff that the geological report, talk about, is that this material goes down 2 miles into the ground. So it's a huge source of this energy, or this white powder gold, or this volcanic tuff. And I even connected it to Skinwalker Ranch. They had this big dome in their analysis. I forget what it was, the LIDAR or something, that came up with this dome. So I guesstimated the points on the ground with Google Earth, the distance, and then I used the method to calculate the height of the Giza pyramid, and I came up with about 2,000 feet. And they were guessing it was about 2,000 feet high. And if I use that here, where the portals, I'm guessing, where I see a lot of the UAPs, and centered with that volcanic caldera center there, we're roughly about the same thing, and we're 2 miles down. They're, geologists are estimating, and it's just a hell of a coincidence all this is going on. When we first started seeing all these, the first time we flew the helicopter, we seen several UAPs coming at us, and so I was trying to do my best guess to see where these are originating. And so I plotted these on Google Earth. I came up with a triangle, almost a triangle, and it was about 9 miles in size. And it just happens to be the caldera they estimate is about 9 miles in size. So is there a big caldera in the Earth that's filled with this, they say Atlantis had a gigantic crystal that was their power, and this big volcanic dike of tuft is the magic right there.
So do you think there's a connection to, say, underground veins of gold or mines and high concentrations of UFO activity? So basically, let's stop beating around the bush. These things are, if you find concentrations of UFOs, you might find concentrations of gold.
Yeah, it may not be
Clive
mineable.
Christopher brought that up.
May not be mineable. In fact, this shaft that I just found recently near Rattlesnake Rock, there's a UAP right at the face of it, and then it looked like it went in. So I climbed up there just to see to feel the energy, see if there's an energy spot. Maybe it's kind of a form of contact where you see a UAP coming down, and I go to that spot, and you can feel the energy. That's some kind of form of contact that I had with that UAP, I believe. Like I say, I could take you out there anytime you want to go. I'll take you right to those spots, and you can do a Vulcan mind meld with that energy too.
I'd like to do it. I'd
that
probably
rock,
have to
that rock,
get some snake boots or something. I do have some motorcycle boots.
I have some. Not to wear a work boot, and I can give you the chaps. So
I'll come out in my Battlestar Galactica outfit and shit, and my helmet on. The snakes can't get through that fucking helmet.
There's not a good mineable vein right there, a mineralization. But I took some of the country rock, the rock that was just there, and under my microscope, and found a little piece of gold. There is gold in there, and so when that rock was digested by this second pulse of geological event, it digested all that stuff and ate up and turned that gold into ash, and that's what that rock is now. That's what you're seeing. So
I saw one of your clips. I don't have it queued up, but one of your clips showed a lot of white powder that was shot from a helicopter. And I think that was that what you're talking about, that white gold dust or something that's spread
white
out
powder
all over
gold.
the place?
It's called white powder gold. A farmer in Yuma, Arizona, David Hudson, discovered this stuff. He was trying to figure out how to take the lime or the acidicness out of his land and discovered this white powder gold. He's been all over the world trying to figure out what this is, spent millions of dollars. I think he's still alive, but and you can search him on YouTube and find his discussions. And he is really, really interesting. He's a very smart farmer and went to the best people all around the world to help him figure out what this was. But that's white powder gold. I say, and I'm the only one saying it, but I'm saying that this tuft has got this white powder gold in it too. It's not maybe the whole thing, but it's there because I can feel it. I'm the best.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I had probably the worst summer I've ever had in my entire life, health-wise. I was way heavier than I am now. I was covered from almost head to toe with a burqa because I have a very rare skin disease that got diagnosed a few months ago. They have me on drugs that can cause renal failure. So I'm monitored for that all the time. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast, because I don't know how the hell long I'm going to be here anymore. So while I have energy, I'm going to just give it my fucking all.
That's what I do too. That's what I do too. As soon as I see something out there, I can't wait to get it online so that if I get hit by a red truck, it's going to be out there and people are going to see it. Nobody's going to lose track of that knowledge that I've discovered, So I've documented all my travels on Facebook. I mean, you can go back and see the whole movies we made in the Bradshaw Mountains on Facebook. The same Arizona Motherload is where you want to go. Or
let's remember that before I forget. Some of the places you can get them. And I put out a video last week called King's Law, which is as soon as you buy something, the price goes down 30%. So that way the next guy gets it cheaper, right? Yep. So I finally sign up for social media. I get on TikTok, and then within a month, they're saying, it ain't constitutional, getting rid of it.
I just signed up too. Got like 3
TikTok,
videos.
You're on TikTok. I got a couple videos there. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. Don't really use it. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I'm on Twitter. I don't use it. I'm not on Facebook at all. But you're on Facebook. You got Arizona. Was it Motherload?
Facebook at Arizona Motherload, and I got 10 years of stuff on there. It looks like a madman. Good. There's so much shit on there. You can spend it's a college course. I should have a course too.
Now, so that's not going away. So for people, I do have your TikTok in the description. If I don't have the Facebook, will have it after the show. So for people who want to see more of Dan's videos, I would suggest, and I've done it because I don't go to Facebook, but if you go to Facebook, you will find his videos there. And there's a lot more than this. There's new chopper videos. Probably when I get bit by a rattlesnake, that'll be on his Facebook.
That'd be a good video. That'd be a good video. We'll have to drag you out.
Yeah.
So I like to take somebody with me so they can make sure I get out at the end of the day.
That's what
like the Bradshaws. We'd get tracked by mountain lions in the Bradshaws. The next day we'd see our foot tracks with mountain lion tracks over top of ours. They were following us. Through them.
So tomorrow's is big news. This has been a weird a couple of months for ufology. I've been in this field on and off for about 3 decades now. I've actually been in the field from 95 until 2003 when I got out. I've actually been in it longer now, from 2016 to 2025, another 9 years back in. I've never seen anything like what's unfolding right now. We had just rewind a little bit. Supposedly December 3rd was Alien Invasion Day or something. I don't know where the hell this came from. It was just popped up, went across the social media. A lot of people heard about it, and then everyone was making jokes saying, yeah, the aliens didn't land. And then like on the 5th, New Jersey has this new drone thing that starts hitting different military bases and airports all over the planet. So there's an escalation of that. Apparently, this is still ongoing, but there's a media blackout from the media just not covering this. And now we have, I was losing faith, to tell you the truth. I hear all these guys talking about whistleblowers. Ross Coulthart has them, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. And then you have Stephen Greer and James Fox. And these guys all have these whistleblowers. And I'm like, can we get this freaking over with? You know, so I'm losing faith. And then here we have a coordinated effort that's coming by people who can't stand each other, because I'm pretty sure George Knapp doesn't get along with Greer, and Greer doesn't like Elizondo, and Elizondo, you know, none of these people, a lot of them don't get along, but they're working together to put something out tomorrow that they're talking about a crash retrieval footage. If you haven't heard this, I'm sure everybody watching this podcast has heard this by now, that News Nation tomorrow is going to air some type of footage of a helicopter that picked up an egg-shaped craft the size of like an F-150. The footage that's out there right now shows 10 seconds of daytime helicopter footage with a rope coming down, and the helicopter, to tell you the truth, not an expert, but you couldn't even pick up me in that damn helicopter. I mean, you need a chin hook to get a UFO off the ground. But let's just wait till this comes out. What do you think? Have you heard much about this, Dan? What are your thoughts on? You're a helicopter ufologist. There's only like 3 of them. And this guy is a whistleblower who's a helicopter pilot. He picks up a UFO, and the timing of this is just great. What do you think?
We used to pick boulders up with a single cable to build resorts and stuff, set these gigantic 3-ton boulders and stuff. Just one single cable, you hook it just right, you can pick a boulder up. But how do you pick up an egg? You can't. You have to have a net underneath it to go. Yeah. So somehow you got to lift it up and set it on this thing that is sling for a. Then you set that off the side and hook that up to the helicopter, and maybe it doesn't weigh nothing because it's just a portal to a dimension. That little craft or egg may not even be a real thing. It's just an image. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. But I just don't. It's consciousness. A lot of people say these crafts have a consciousness, and so I have no idea what that thing is, and I guess they can carry it. And why would I think somebody wants them to carry it away? And I don't know. I just don't know what to think. I have a lot of friends in the business that say they're all our drones. That's all us. And but Ian may be throwing disinformation out there. He would do that.
Well, the woodcut from 1561 wasn't us with the UFO battle over, was it Nuremberg, Germany or something like that? That woodcut that shows a battle of crosses and black spheres and white spheres, and then they just went to town and crashed. Yeah. I hear that too. But, if you look up Project Blue Book, you look up the National UFO Reporting Center, cylinders and all these craft have been around since like the age of electronics, since the Roswell crash. So we're seeing the same type of craft repeatedly. So they don't seem to roll out new models decade after decade. They seem to be using the same geometric type of shapes. But yeah, you're right. Picking up an egg, for anybody who wants to take a rope and try and loop an egg around, go ahead and try that. You're going to need a net. If you bring a retrieval team, because it sounds like the chopper pilot stayed up there while there's people rigged it. So you're going to need room for those people.
Might be radioactive too. Maybe radioactive. I
didn't think of that.
Didn't think of that. Necessarily touch. A lot of people that come in close contact with crafts like that, they get burns, radiation burns, and weird stuff, weird illnesses. So it's amazing that they would run up to it and haul it off.
Yeah, man, I didn't think about that. They're going to have those nuclear, biological, and chemical bunny suits on. You would think. Because if not, they better call their attorney, about, hey, have you been killed by alien asbestos, burning it in a pit at Area 51? Well, call now. I mean, fuck. Yeah. I would not want to get next to that shit going, wait, this from another planet? Anybody like get a tricorder and
I had a
figure out
Geiger.
this got germs?
I took a Geiger counter with me twice in the helicopter ride. I just set it at my feet, and just every now and then keep an eye on the needle, make sure that needle wasn't moving around, just to be sure. And Chris, the pilot, I see him leaning over just to see if it was moving. He thinks I'm crazy though. He's never seen this stuff. He watches my
never
videos.
met me.
Yeah, so
I'll make you look really sane when he gets done talking to me.
But the Geiger counter never moved, never budged. So, I haven't taken it in some of these hot spots where we see a lot of activity and where I can feel the energy. I've never got anything bad. I've just never had it budge. So, as far as I can see it,
this one.
I got an old-fashioned one I bought at an auction. It looks like the TV show, the old TV show Geiger counters. It's a big old military one.
Yeah, I have a digital one. It hooks up to Wi-Fi and it continually uploads to the GMC nuclear map. And that's it's an interesting data point. What I find interesting is the type of skywatching and stuff I do is pretty extreme. It was a step-by-step thing that I've been doing until I got to where I'm now. I look back and I find a lot of other people doing this, and we are establishing a kind of a baseline of operations. A lot of us are using P1000 cameras, which is a camera with a 125 power zoom. We're using Geiger counters. We're using Hacker RF1, looking for that 1.6 gig. So we're using a lot of the same sensors.
I sent that signal out too. That 1.6 gigahertz. I watched Skinwalker Ranch too. I had that in my phone, and so I turned that on and had that in my pocket when we're flying too, just to see if that would do anything. And I didn't notice anything with that, but I tried some of the tricks anyways. But.
Yeah, I heard. Now I thought that was maybe a gimmick to help sell the show, but this audience that watches the show, is small, but they're amazing people. They pointed out to me that when the space station flies over, get ready. You will hear that will spike 1.6. Yeah.
That's what they say.
So that convinced me. Just the people who watch this, they are my peers that I listen to. And yeah, I'm going to try that next time I film it. As dial that thing in just to see. Does the tool work? I also use the Cosmic Watch. That's a muon detector. Not a lot of people are using that. I have been having software issues with that, but been emailing the creator of the software, Mateo, on that. We're trying to get that solved. Because like when you have something, and you get used to it, it's like saying, hey, I got this nice bow and arrow. And then it's like, no, my bow and arrow's gone. I'll never have one again. How do I get another one? I hate having tools. When you got UFO tools that you rely on and they're gone, it's like, what's that cost to get that back?
I don't think that the Skinwalker Ranch has got a lot of smart guys there. They're very smart. And how about this technology? I tell my wife, I said, they're not going to figure this out. They're just not gonna. That's not how you're going to figure it out. You're going to it's going to be through your consciousness how you figure this out. And when you're setting at these hot spots like Rattlesnake Rock, that's when you ask the questions. And some people believe that they can answer you telepathically, or you'll get the message and you will just be ingrained with the message, and then you gain access to that answer. So I don't think our technology is going to figure it out. I really don't, until someone comes down and we're not going to find a notarized form that says, yep, that's an alien. That's not going to find it. It's going to be a preponderance of the evidence. Probably we may never get an alien that comes down and says and sits with the president and has lunch with the president. That may never, ever, ever
probably
happen.
not. But what we are doing is we're making a hell of a lot of scientific progress. You are out basically confirming with your own evidence that the objects that we've seen flying through the Mesa at Skinwalker Ranch is happening here in Arizona on at least that level of scale. So other people can watch that show. They can watch this one. They can look at your Facebook videos. And if they have the wherewithal to go out and to become, skywatching in helicopters, they could try this and repeat this too.
Yeah.
I'd like to go out with you at least once in the helicopter and some other times in the ground, and also bring out Chris. We may not.
Yeah.
we might not solve everything, but we're going to make a lot of progress. Chris is one of these people who kind of scares me. We talked a bit about this. He came over to my house, had a stuff break. Now, I watch Skinwalker Ranch, and they go, well, this broke. It's never broke before. And I'm like, come on, man. Right. And then when your shit breaks, you go, hey, this never broke before, but it's broken now. Now this has happened to me. And if people ask me, well, Tom, why do you see UFOs? I say, I don't know, because I just look all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the person, but now meeting a different person, well, Chris, and seeing that he films more, Chris, he films more UFOs than I do. He films them closer and better. He comes over, my shit breaks. If I go over to his house, does his shit break? So, right? So if we come out...
his frequency is really high because he lives at that base of that mountain. His house has got to be full of it. I didn't notice it in this house when I visited, but right outside his house is that hill that he sees all these UAPs every day is energetic. And we're not going to say where exactly that place is, but there's a little whiff of gold in that rock too. So
good.
Another common denominator with all these hot spots is the gold.
Yeah, for people watching, there's a show coming out. They brought some footage over here several months ago that Chris shot. What happened was I got sent just a little bit of his footage in advance to look at. And the ones I looked at was his flying humanoid or jellyfish videos. He has apparently about 3 of those. I have one. I analyzed it, stabilized it, and enhanced it. And then I enhanced Chris's video. I got nearly a 90% match that we filmed the same thing. And then they showed me those blue orb videos that he shot from his backyard. And I know you've seen those. I took those videos and stabilized them, enhanced them. And what people are going to see is this is great timing now that these whistleblowers are finally coming around. What people are going to see is in March, Clive Christopher is going to release a video. I think it's called Observe and Report is the working title if it's not the final. And it's going to show these flying humanoids. It's going to show the blue orbs. It's going to show the computer work I did blowing it up. And we're not talking a speck. We're talking, you're looking at something blue the size of a baseball hovering 50 or 60 feet away from, I think, an iPhone 13 camera. Now, and that's one video, and there's multiple videos. I'm not going to spoil it, but you're going to see it. It's coming out. So it's already went through post-production. It's probably going through captions and editing and all that stuff.
Yeah, his stuff is amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Amazing. Nobody's ever seen stuff like this. It's amazing.
Yeah. I want to have him on. I want to bring him on if I can get him on in March when the show comes out. So when it comes out, he can come on. We'll talk about it. But I'd like to, before then, since we're in our winter, maybe do some come out to your properties if Chris wants to go. A couple of good UFO luck charms doesn't hurt, and I'll come out, set up the beast, set up a bunch of cameras, look different directions. We may or may not see anything, and then look at the footage after the fact and see if I get UFOs driving straight into the ground.
Yeah, we call it Dark Sky Ranch. It's a 2-acre ranch, 2-acre Arizona ranch, Dark Sky Ranch. And we're working on getting our UFO DAT camera set up too. I got to get an engineering degree here to hook that damn thing up. But I got Starlink Wi-Fi right there and then some solar generator power. So you can camp out there. Come on out. We can camp too. It's fun. And we point toward, we're 4 miles from the boogeyman is what I tell everybody. We're just 4 miles
from the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I've been working on my streaming stuff. I got a new router. For people who are watching, a lot of you guys probably upgrade your phones once every other year or so. If you are on some media monopoly, whether it's Quest, whether it's Cox, whether it's Comcast, or any of them, if you're renting a router, call them up and say, I want your newest router. They do not tell you we got a brand new one out and let's swap that out for you. You have to call them. But every year, call your media monopoly, ask them for a new router if you are renting. That's what I did. I got it for free. My streaming is much better here. I actually have 4K upload. I don't know if it's because of the router. Doesn't make any sense. But I did some test streams, and I'm getting 4K right out the gate. So Sunday, UFODAP is coming back online. I got my camera back from the manufacturer yesterday. So that's up and running. I'm going to be doing UFODAP tutorials live. We're going to be doing 4K Skywatch broadcasting probably Sunday and Monday. So I'm going to be doing these shows on Friday, and then somewhere in the middle of the week, some live Skywatches in between that.
Cool.
So we're kind of hit just over an hour. Is there any other videos that we haven't covered you want me to queue up? Do we get through most of them, or do you have something else you want to drop on these people?
Let's see. Left of the face video. Let's look at that. That's kind of fun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's queue it up. Let's get
there's a
overtime
image of a face here in the right sun. And I say this is the center of the caldera. And here you go.
All right. So I'm going to shrink this down and bring this up max.
This video here, I noticed left of the face that we take a left turn here, but right here I noticed something at the last second, another light UAP coming out of that shadow right there, that triangle shadow, and just a quick bleep that comes by, heads toward us. I'll have to right there, just flipped out of there. So that's kind of bizarre, isn't it? So as we turn left here, we're going toward the face that I noticed last week. Right there, that face right there. That could be the inspiration for the Sphinx, maybe. I've seen some reconstructed faces that have a long nose like that. So anyways, I noticed this light UAP right to the left here. Right now, it just goes from the top ridge line down through the picture, or through the view, through that hill. So it comes from far away, off to the distance. And as it comes by, I'll play this several times here so we can pick it up. Once you see it right through that area right through there. Looks like it's even doing a little bit of a curve as it goes over the ridge line into that valley there, which is kind of neat. So it's hard to see on, there it is. It's pretty small. You got to be looking at the right here. Look to the left of the face. There, just a zip by right there. Once you kind of get your eye trained to see it, you'll see that it does a little bit of a curve at that ridge line right through there, up where it kind of looks like it comes from. Actually, the more you watch it, the farther it comes back from. And right there, it just went through. A lot of activity that morning. Now to the right of the face, I looked at where that bleep came out. It's kind of a no grass zone there too. So is that a exit portal? That's kind of neat. That's it for now.
This is one big planet with a lot of places to hide.
I know. It is. And the common denominator here is most of these UAPs come out of this white ground. Or once I finally get to these spots, I'm planning on physically getting to these spots. I most of them now look like they're this volcanic tuft or some type of that tuft material, that ash. And so that seems to be are they coming out of that? Is that what they travel in? I mean, it's hurts your head to think about it.
Well, you could probably get a drone somewhat close to where these entry or exit points might be. And
I can get right to them physically. I can get to most of the stuff. It just takes time. It's hard to get to.
Do you see anything going up or down, or does a lot of it just kind of go horizontally?
I've seen them go up and down, both. Yep, seen them do both. Now, here's something interesting. From the chopper, they're white most of the time, and from the ground, they're black. The ones I see are black. And so, I think you sent me a clip from 1997 of a news reporter here in Phoenix showed a picture of a picture of a UFO.
Hockey pucks.
Silver on the top and black on the bottom. She even said that too. I'm like, yeah, right there. These are the cats that I see all the time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, those objects look like a black hockey puck, but then on the top of it is equal portion of silver with a small dome. I've seen them through binoculars, and that's what but I didn't see, but you don't see the black part. The black part, I think, is a digital artifact from the camera, but when I saw them through the binoculars, it just looked like the color of a silver spoon, but it was a disc, like the gimbal.
See that, the volcanic ash is a geological formation. Travis Taylor, he speculates that it's asteroid hits, meteor strikes spots on the Earth where these concentrations of UFOs are. He doesn't know about this white ash, apparently. So, maybe he'll watch this show here. And I'll say, Travis, you got to look at the volcanic tuft, or the rhyolite is another form that has this energetic, it emits this energy. That's where you want to look at. It's the geology.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if they're here for what's underneath us.
For some reason, right? Yeah. They're not
just they're here for a reason.
They're not flying around doing donuts in the sky and just for fun and watching us. They're busy. They're off doing. I'm convinced that they're mining. I'm just convinced.
It could be jobs. I mean, one time I thought, what do you think they're doing? I said, well, they're going from, like, I filmed that Go Fast thing a number of times in the past few weeks. It's a real object. Something goes from here to there. It goes fast, right? Maybe they're going to work. Right. Everybody seems to have some purpose or job.
Yeah.
It may not be work like, delivering alien Amazon boxes or something, but they got something to do throughout,
they're not Sunday
driving. Alive.
They're not Sunday driving. They're doing something. They're serious people, serious beings. They're doing something. Why not? Why would it be anything else? That should be universal, I think.
One question, anything audience member Mr. BoobTube is asking, anything night type footage of this type of activity?
I have Skywatching from Dark Sky Ranch, our place out there. We see fast moving things coming in and shooting out every now and then. Well, one of the strangest things we saw, we had an infrared camera, and it was like a dark spot in the sky. There's a huge dark spot in the sky that the infrared camera picked up as kind of like a weave with different colors. And at first I thought, holy shit, this is ET technology. We're seeing a structure of ET. And then I realized it was probably the camera figuring this stuff out and trying to show it. But it was a heat signature. It was a darker spot in the sky. And just after that, we saw a white streak go we used to call them shooting stars. But, I don't call those things shooting stars anymore. And it came right out of it, right into these mountains here that I'm talking about. They were Rattlesnake Rock, that mountain. They were going right into that. They were all trajectories are headed right to that or out of it, coming out of it. Same spot. So when we go to my place, we just stick the cameras to the north and just sit there and wait and just record. And then you might not see it. At night you can actually see a spark. Me and my wife would go, oh, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? And hopefully we got the cameras pointed in the right direction. Usually I got 2 or 3. But, sometimes we don't. We saw a really cool one that came out overhead and both of us had time to go, hey, look at this. And then it turned red and just disappeared. Kind of like as it was leaving, getting out into the open, above the valley, south of the valley. that it just disappeared and you couldn't see it. So that was really cool. I wish that would have been the video of the century. It would have been really cool, but we didn't get it. But we see stuff at night. We do see stuff at night. About 8 o'clock. So start watching from sundown till about 9. You don't have to do it all night. I've done it all night, and we didn't see anything at night. So most of the time, it's about the witching hours, about 8 o'clock at night. So go out by anybody go out there. Go out to what's the name of the road out there on the way to Queen Valley off of 60. There's a new subdivision back toward nestled into the Superstitions. I can't think of the name of it, but go back in there and just point your cameras toward a little bit to the northeast and just sit there and watch. You'll see something. Should see something.
Well, this has been a great show. Man, you have enough footage that you can make at least a season on a television series.
I got lots of video, lots.
Yeah.
Lots.
I mean, just from what I've seen, a lot of shows really got to stretch their material.
I don't mind speculating. I don't mind speculating too. I'm not afraid to go out there and talk about. And you kind of hear me thinking out loud is what I'm doing. I'm not saying this is it, damn it, and that's it. I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm watching it and learning like everybody else is. So as soon as I see it, I put it up on social media, and people are learning like I am that watch. You know, I have friends I went to kindergarten with that are friends on Facebook, and they follow me. So they've been following the whole 10 years here of all this documentation. So it's been great. It's really been cool. Social media has been good for me. You know,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
remember you did this before it was cool, because if the cover-up ends tomorrow, and all these people jump on the bandwagon going, yeah, I'm into that alien shit too. Let's make some TikTok videos. Like, yeah, you're just on the bandwagon. You should have been in this when they got you fired, when you were Phil Class went after you, when the debunkers always had the last word on every TV show. That isn't cutting edge if you get into it now that it's official. There's a lot of people who are waiting for the government to admit it. I'm not waiting for the government. I've already seen it. It's real.
I've thought about that too. Pretty soon it's going to be common knowledge or accepted. I have enough for another angle, though. I think I have enough evidence, preponderance of the evidence that connects the ancient Egyptians and ancient cultures to this too. I talk about a lot. You see it in my videos on Facebook, but that's a whole nother show. But it's really cool, and I'm telling you what, you look at the whole world a lot different. I think you'll see it.
All right. Well, I want to thank the regular people for coming out. We had Paul Dimon, Gobstop, Renee Cruz, trying to see the other monitor over there, Mr. Boop Tube, Xavier, pretty sure my wife, and a lot of other people. If you want to continue watching more of Dan's videos, we're going to have this Arizona Motherload at Facebook page, and then you can go watch more of these, share them with your friends, and we'll see what goes on tomorrow. This has been a great episode of the 4K Skywatching podcast. I'm going to be back on this weekend with some more tests, some UFO daps, some more lessons. And if you are looking for last week's show, I accidentally deleted it. If anybody downloaded it, I hate that Ted Loman did this too. He fucking accidentally deleted some of his VHS shows on public cable and then had to get copies from his viewers. So if you have an episode from last week, send that in. I'll try not to fat finger this one and put it down the memory hole. I want to thank Dan Starkey for coming in and telling us what's going on with the exciting roller coaster project and him, and sharing exclusive video of him skywatching in a helicopter that you're only going to see here or through other Arizona places. Last thing to say, Dan, I'd like to have you on at some point in the future.
Yeah, great. I'm ready. I got lots
of
time.
All right. Well, let's stake out some Skywatches in the future, and we'll do a follow-up show. And remember, we're going to be talking more about what's coming out in a March show coming out with the blue orbs and the flying humanoids. It was shot in Arizona. So you guys have a good Friday evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.